Hey guys, it's Amanda with Purple Panda Productions, and today we're going to be talking about the Canon 50mm RF 1.2L lens. So I know it's been quite some time since I last saw you, but let me tell you guys, I have been so busy. But busy is good, right? I've been so busy with school. I'm getting ready to graduate by this upcoming summer. I've had so many awesome photo shoots. I'm getting ready for some big upcoming projects that I'm really excited about. And for the first time in a long time, I actually got the chance to really take a break from everything. Now, you remember when I made that video, 5 tips for time management in 5 minutes? Well, if not, you can check out the video in this link up here. And I actually took my own advice. I was really able to take a break from everything, relax before I get burnt out, and just take a chill pill. And really, it helped, and I highly recommend it. I cannot say it more. Take some time for yourself and spend some time with your family because it will really help you relax and feel refreshed. So just as a disclaimer before we start, I just wanted to say I am not sponsored. This is my pure, honest reviews of what I think about these products, and I'm just sharing those thoughts with you. So let's talk about this lens. Now, this Canon 50mm 1.2 lens is the newest lens that I've added to my RF arsenal, and let me tell you about it. It's honestly just as good as everybody says it is. Now, I was on the fence about getting this lens because I mainly am a person that does shoot zoom lenses. I consider my style very documentary, and as a primary videographer, I use zoom lenses a lot for my videos and then use those lenses for my portrait photography. Now, of course, getting prime lenses is great for photography and has its advantages over zoom lenses. For one, it has the ability to shoot at more open apertures, so you can get more light into low light photography and more nice creamy bokeh. But the downside to having prime lenses is, one, it's one fixed focal length, so instead of zooming with the lens with your hands, you would have to zoom by using your feet, whether it's moving closer to your subject or farther away. And another downside about prime lenses is they're really expensive. Now granted, zoom lenses are pretty expensive as well, but if you get something like this 1.2, it's really expensive. Now this prime lens comes about $2,300 US. Now that's a lot of money. Now I highly suggest those of you that do want to end up spending some kind of money on a lens like this, that you invest your money and save part of your paycheck over time, or instead of going out all the time and getting fast food, that you put some money aside in order to save up for gear. Now, I'm not necessarily big on specs. I will say that the Canon 1.2 has USM or ultrasonic motors. So for those of you that rely heavily on autofocus like myself, it captures the eye or the face very fast, especially if you pair it up with something like what I'm using right now, the Canon EOS R or the newly released R5 and R6. You will have a wonderful time and very easy and convenient in order to capture fast-moving subjects or just any subject for portrait photography. Now, like I said before, this lens, as you can see here, uses the RF mount, which meaning you can only use this lens currently on native RF cameras, such as the new Canon mirrorless cameras like the EOS R, the R5, the R6, and hopefully soon when the Canon C70 is released. Some great features about this lens is that it has the nice control ring, so when you are using this with the Canon EOS R, R5, R6, whatever you choose, you have this control ring and you can customize it to change something, especially like ISO. If you're taking pictures, you can use this to change your settings versus using the touch bar on the EOS R, or versus just going into your camera manually and changing those settings from the camera itself. So since being away from a while and taking a break, I've actually had quite a few shoots with this lens, and let me tell you, my personal experience with this lens, I absolutely love it. Now, I'm someone that normally brings with me on a shoot the Canon EF 70-200 and the 24-70, and something that I constantly find myself getting into is that during shoots, I constantly switch between lenses, which in turns wastes more time and kind of has that awkward moment with your subject when you're too busy switching lenses with a camera and and trying to keep your subjects entertained. Now, something that I really wanted to try with this lens was within the last couple of shoots I had, I wanted to only use them using this lens only and not bringing anything else. Now, granted, I will say I cheated a little bit and did bring a few of my lenses just in case, but I will give myself credit because I never did find a chance where I did have to change lenses. So for the shoots that I recently used this lens in, I used it for my first couples photography shoot. I used it for when I went to Corpus Christi with my fiance for our anniversary. I used it for some street photography and using some low light conditions as well. And I also used it for a recent graduation shoot that I did. So let's talk about the couples photography, and I'll have some pictures probably loading up here as I'm talking about this. This lens did absolutely amazing. It was very, very easy capturing the eye, especially when I had the couple moving around a lot. It was very easy to get a number of shots, whether I wanted to go wider and get their full body or whether I wanted to go closer for those more intimate shots. It did a phenomenal job, and the product and results that came out of this lens absolutely amazed me, especially focusing at 1.2. Now, I will say the EOS R did happen to miss a couple shots, but for the majority of the shoot, this lens did a great job really nailing all the focus. Now, moving on to the graduation shoot, this 50 is pretty much something that could be like a walk around lens. Like I said, the versatility of this lens is absolutely amazing. It sits between the level of being telephoto and something that's a little bit mid-range, so it kind of sits in the middle of that beautifully. And the pictures I was able to capture with the graduation shoot were absolutely amazing, especially when the sun was going down and I found myself not being able to have that much light. Having the flexibility of 1.2 really helps in those low light situations and really compensates for that dismissal of light. And last but not least, I took this lens out with me when I was shooting with my fiance in Corpus Christi, and let me tell you, the low light capabilities once again on this lens are just absolutely phenomenal. We were out in Corpus Christi literally shooting from 5 o'clock in the afternoon till almost about 9 p.m. And as you see the sun setting down during that from 7 to 9 p.m., this lens was still able to not only capture focus of my fiance, but also get a lot of that detail and keep my ISO down for those crispy images. And when it did get darker, I was able to higher my ISO just a tad bit, but even then there is hardly any noise, and if there was, I was easily able to smoothen out with noise reduction used in Lightroom. So overall, I can definitely say I will be using this lens a lot more, especially as I have some engagement shoots coming up, and I would definitely be using this for my graduation shoots, some of my individual portrait shoots. I definitely think for a photographer, this is one of the first lenses you should get if you own the EOS R or the Canon's new mirrorless lineup. I definitely think that if you are trying to invest yourself in a really good prime, this would be the best way to start because it sits in that range between telephoto and that not necessarily wide but mid-range. Now, I will say that this has some weight on it, so it is a little bit heavy, but if you are someone like me who carries the EF 70 to 200 and the 24 to 70 and the 15 to 35, and those are already heavy lenses as it is, and you just have your backpack weighing you down all the time, you just want to bring one lens, I highly recommend that the 51.2 is definitely the way to go. Alright, so that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll be seeing you soon with more videos. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks guys, bye. When I first started this YouTube channel, I was using the Rode VideoMic Go, which is something that I've had since the start of my videography career. And then I later bought the Tascam DR10L for weddings, interviews, and it's a really, really good mic for those purposes. And then recently I got the Rode VideoMic